Thank you, madam. So how was your trip?
Oh, it was fabulous.
That's
Fabulous.
that is great. So you had a real vacation.
It was. It was a real vacation, and it was, good with family, good time with family.
Uh-huh.
I flew into Reno and rented a camper van
Uh-huh.
that was small, it was
Yeah.
13 feet, but it had, the bed in it, had the refrigerator freezer in it, a little porta potty in it, so it wasn't all rigged out, it wasn't
Yeah.
major tricked out, but it was comfortable.
Cool.
It was really good. And so the first night I got in probably 5, 6 o'clock at night, and I thought, okay, I'm going to be tired. It's going to get dark soon. I want to stop and get groceries. So I'll just boondoggle in Reno, and I found a casino parking lot that had other campers in it. So, so I just slept there the night, and then I picked up my niece the next morning. She flew in the next morning.
Oh.
And so we carpooled together and had a good time with that.
Oh, great.
And my niece lives in an area where she's about, the little town that she's near, I mean, she's within walking distance of this town, is all of maybe 350 permanent residents. But it's got 3 or 4 major campgrounds around there, lakes all the way around. It's gorgeous, a little bitty ski hill. So this campground that's on the other side of town, so she's here central, the town's over here. There's 2 campgrounds over here. One of them, she just rented the whole thing for the weekend. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday was all theirs for, people like me coming in to stay. So my brother took one, his kids took one. I took a spot, there were a group of family of other friends and colleagues and things like that. So the whole campground was all wedding
Oh,
stuff.
how nice.
And then she had one spot set for the band. They had a live band, and after reception, they had food and drink, at one, buffet table and serve yourself bar. And then another one had a whole bunch of tables and the heating lamps and things like that. Weather was fabulous for us.
No kidding.
Daytimes were high 60s, low 70s, so very comfortable. Nights got a little chilly, but by nightfall, you were building a campfire and things like that. So it was fabulous. And this place it's right in the mountains. So literally every direction you looked, there were just fabulous pictures. I actually brought my phone in. I usually don't bring my phone in.
Uh-huh.
But
sounds to me like you needed to bring your phone.
Well, the only reason I did was I put it in my pocket. There was some guy he was in front of me coming up. I came over through Millington, and that little Y there?
Yeah.
I always take that, and he came and had to do that. So I'm like, okay, he doesn't know where he's going. I wonder if I should, and then he followed me all the way in here. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you lost? So I grabbed my phone and was walking toward the street because he came all the way down. And looked to see if he could go through. No. So I had my phone with him to, just to see if I needed to help him or something. But so that's the only reason I had my phone. But so this is the wedding.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Oh. What a setting.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And this is her house. Yeah. That's where she lives. It's an old Forest Service cabin, refurbished and winterized, and
wow.
It's perfect for the 2 of them and their dogs and their ducks. But this is the lake in front of their house.
Oh, you're kidding.
Isn't that
Oh, my.
stunning?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a Tai Chi place if I ever saw one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is, and you know, everywhere you looked, you just had mountains like that all the way around.
Oh, God.
That's called,
great.
this one's called Reversed Peak because the formation of it was from a glacier coming off this peak, and it came down and hit granite and turned around and reversed itself.
Oh,
so there's a series of 3 or 4 small lakes, and they go backwards.
Oh,
so you've got reversed. We stayed in Reversed Creek Campground. So it was great. It was fabulous.
It sounds like you had a really good time.
It was awesome. And then I did some artsy fartsy pictures.
Ooh.
So this is the tree.
Oh.
This tree, it's a form of a pine that's a relative to the ponderosa pine. But my sister-in-law, who's a tree planner for the Forest Service, first thing she said, she pointed to one of them. She goes, "Go put your nose in that tree." I'm like, "What?" So, and I did, and it smells like butterscotch. Butterscotch. The Jeffrey pine is what she called it. So, yeah. So
she works for the Forest Service. That's neat.
Yeah. This was another couple more of these. Just fun and interesting pictures, you know, of that. And then I kept getting more and more artsy fartsy and that, you know. It was just
pretty.
Yeah. And the reflection from the other side.
Yeah.
So it was just gorgeous.
And it looks really nice.
It was a beautiful area, and weather was ideal. Family was good. You know, and everybody had a good time. Yeah. So, good time was had by all.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Excuse me.
Nobody's there
trying
yet.
to see if I missed Carol trying to join, but nope. She said she had a really busy day. Oh, well.
Yeah. They'll join, hopefully.
It's just you and me, which is fine.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, we'll give them a hello in the recording.
So, any chance to meditate in there? That wonderful scenery?
Well, there was a chance where I kind of used the calming practices. There was one day in the middle. It was actually, it was after the wedding. It was the day of the wedding. We had the wedding ceremony in the morning, and then a big gap, and then the reception in the afternoon. And the van that I had solar power. It had solar panels on the top, and the solar battery was what ran all the stuff inside the refrigerator, freezer, water heater, water pump, etc. So I realized it was in the shade. So I moved it and adjusted it and hopped out to look and see if it was good, turned it off, threw the keys in the console, closed the drawer, locked the keys in.
Oh no.
So I borrowed my nephew's phone.
Yeah.
And called this group that does this RV rental is kind of like an Airbnb for RVs.
Oh.
It's a great system. So they've got 24-hour roadside assistance.
Oh, that's good.
So I called about 1:00 and I said, okay, here's where I am. Here's what I did. I am safe. I am okay. I'm with family. So it's not like it's super, super urgent, but it will be. But, and 4 hours later, they still did not have someone there. They had gotten a hold of some guy that was 20 minutes away that said, oh, yeah, I can be there in an hour and a half. It's like, okay, fine. An hour and a half later, oh, no, it's going to be an hour more. I'm like, well, I think he's kind of stringing you along. What's up with this? Why am I not a high enough priority? And 4 hours later, we're in the mountains, so the sun's starting to go behind the mountains. I'm in a t-shirt because it was warm during the day.
Yeah.
And I said, it's not gonna be soon.
Yeah.
So finally they called somebody else who was there within 20 minutes that came and opened it. But my sister-in-law kept looking at me going, why aren't you more upset than you are? You have to let them know your pain a little bit. And I'm like, nothing I can do about it. Or what's it going to do? It's not going to do me any good to get really riled up about it.
No.
And she was just like, I can't believe you. You're just sitting. I'm like, so I guess I used some of my meditation.
I think so. I'm glad they sent somebody though.
Well, like I said, I was with family, so if I'd gone and slept on my niece's couch, and there were a couple of houses near her that have part-time residents that she was good friends with. That one of them, they were letting her use the kitchen to cook and things like that. So it wasn't as if I knew I'd be locked out. If that had happened another night where I was, I wasn't with family, I wasn't in a totally different situation. But yeah, so I did meditate a little bit there. So yeah, a little bit.
Well, I think that we'll just keep it really basic today. And particularly since apparently neither Carol or Shell are going to be able to join us. I do have the last part of this series that we've been working on to introduce, and then we'll go on to some simpler things, I think. But at least this has been perhaps good in exposing you to another level of practice. But I don't think I'll try to do it until at least Carol can be here. Shell probably will not be coming back to this class in person. She has come to some of the, I don't think she'll mind me saying this, she's come to some of the Monday class because we could be outside. And so she would have to negotiate the stairs, but that's just not good for her now. So she's amazing.
She's an inspiration to me, just seeing how she's just keeping things going.
Yep.
As best she can.
Yep.
She's really a trooper.
So, do you have any questions or thoughts that you want to throw in here at the moment?
No.
Okay.
Other than the maybe is it Carol?
Yes, it is. I am trying to log in. Why don't you log in? Never mind. I won't reply to your message. I'll just let you in. Wonder why she had a problem. What's going on, Carol? I said yes. I love Zoom when it works.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for heaven's sake. There she is. Hi, Carol.
Hi, David.
You had trouble getting in, huh?
Yeah, well, first I was eating and looked up and it said it was 2 minutes of one.
Oh.
And then I had my email wasn't open, and I made the mistake of switching from Microsoft Mail to Outlook, and it doesn't like to open. That was a problem. And then when I finally got it open, I got it to the to the mail, and the link wasn't a link anymore because of whatever Outlook was doing. So I copied it into my web. Anyway, blah 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 blah. I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, I have not. I started to look at Outlook, and it, for one thing, it only reads one of my email addresses, not both of them,
Yeah.
and doesn't seem interested in having the second one. So, as usual, Microsoft is jerking us around a bit.
Yeah. Well, I got this message that says the one I was using was no longer going to be used anymore as of the end of the year. So I thought, well, I'll just
Yeah.
get started on the new one. Well, I have an old enough machine, so it's not happy. The new Outlook is not happy on my machine. So I have to open the old one. But I start the new one, open the old one, and then finally the new one wakes up. The old one wakes up and disappears, and then Outlook wakes up.
Oh,
Really
well,
annoying.
yes,
But
very annoying. Well, we're glad to have you. Linda's here.
it's good.
Yeah.
Hey, Linda. Oh, I don't have to. I
I'll
don't have
get
to
out of the
yell it
way.
away. I can wave.
No, I was just sitting quietly while you guys.
I thought he moved, and I caught a glimpse of you.
Yep.
But
Yep.
but the glimpse I caught was of your curly hair, so must have been a illusion.
So, actually, we've already done the Ting Shaw, but do you have any questions or comments to Carol?
No.
Okay. Well, I was just saying to Linda, I think I'm going to wait to introduce the last section of this sequence of practice we've been working on. We'll just sort of do a basic meditation today with our 8 gates. Energy gates.
Would you mind doing a real brief kind of, it's been interesting seeing the different segments coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And I've tried to kind of not just compartmentalize them because they're not. They kind of intertwine. But could you kind of give like a little bit of a tie-in almost? Where I don't know if that's kind of a fair question to ask at the last minute, but just thinking how the different parts of them impact us, how we work with them. I don't know if there's like a quick, nutshell kind of thing that's that, or am I asking something that's much bigger and more complicated than?
Well, I could do it maybe kind of tie it together in a way.
Okay.
Because the intention of this sequence was that each of the lessons would prepare you to go on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And so we really started out with pretty much our basic dissolving and starting with the conscious mind. And the difficulty here is getting to the point in your meditation with the conscious mind that you can be aware of the unconscious mind. And until you arrive at that kind of crossover point, the other lessons are kind of introducing where you go when you can, when you do. So the intention of at first was to try to help you make that connection between the conscious and the unconscious mind, and then to be able to gradually get to a point where you don't even start with the conscious mind anymore, but go immediately to the unconscious because you arrive at that level of awareness, which I'm not sure we have. Really,
I'm quite confident I haven't.
I would say that I've had sometimes when I felt I have, but I'm not sure that but I'm pretty sure I don't manage to do it every time.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I am. So I'm not that far ahead of you. Uh, I'm still working on all of this. And then the advantage is that the unconscious mind allows you to hopefully be much more clearly aware of the blockage that you initially focus on and its other levels, the blockages behind the blockage, the elements, other elements of it. And being able to distinguish those within the second and third energy bodies, and to be able to be aware of the difference, whether that it exists in only one energy body or whether it's existing in both, and obviously to dissolve that and to be aware of the, the difference in intensities that exist. In other words, you have both positive and negative aspects when you begin to get this deeply into it. So we start with just being aware that we've got something in the way, we've got a blockage, but eventually that blockage gets very specific and has both negative and positive aspects, and you need to eventually be able to dissolve and balance both. Does that help?
That helps. That definitely helps.
It's a really interesting, I think, a really interesting way of approaching this, and it's I think it can be very effective. I know it can be very effective. Let me put it that way. I know it can be very effective, but it's not easy.
Mm.
And if it works for you to work on that, that's great. If it doesn't, there's a great deal to be gained from just focusing on basic dissolving. But I think this opens our awareness to other levels of where that can go.
Mm. That's good. Yeah, that was kind of what I was looking for. It's just kind of the overall side of things. Thank you.
Obviously, my notes are very much based on Bruce's notes, because he's the teacher that I'm following in this. His way of approaching it isn't always the easiest for everybody to follow and understand, I will admit. So, this being the first time I've taught this one, I'm learning about that too.
Mm.
And if I happen to teach this again, I probably would make further changes and try to be a little clearer about some of the aspects of it.
Okay.
I've already started trying to do that, to clarify some of my notes. But yeah. So on that note, let's do a little energy games. So stepping out, and just being aware of how you're standing on your feet. Making sure that your feet are flat and not on an edge or more on toe or heel at the moment. And that the feet are relaxed. As Master Joe said, merging into the earth. And being aware of allowing the body to be open. So all the joints of the legs are open and released. The perineum is open and not closed off. The midriff lifted and open. Really important not to close off the midriff. Armpits open. The space at the base of the skull where it joins the spine. The head very gently lifting, not stretching tight, but lifting and opening. And being aware of opening the points in the bottom of the feet, Dong Chuan and Shimian, and Bai Hui at the top of the head, allowing the energy of the universe and the earth to circulate in our bodies. And then focusing our energy to sink through the body so that it can drop the energy that the body can no longer use into the earth to be cleansed and recycled. And then extending your mind through your body. Begin to scan through and become aware of where it is you have blockages or interruptions in the flow of the energy. And then just remembering where those are so that you can come back to them later. Begin to flow into cloud hands. with the swings.
David, when Rick did the spine stretch at his workshop, he started at the top, and we always start at the bottom and go. Do you have anything to say about that?
I don't like starting at the top.
Okay.
um, I don't think it works as well,
Mm-hmm.
particularly in terms of opening the spine. Um, I
Okay.
don't. I don't think it's bad. That's not what I'm saying. I don't or
Yeah.
wrong. It's a different approach, but I just find the focusing on going from the bottom to the top on both sides more effective. I I did the other way for years before I um, started doing the Taoist spine stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel like I'm at least I, I would say personally I'm convinced of the one being better than the other. But that's me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. There's no reason not to experiment with what Rick was suggesting. There's so many things that he offers that are really are effective,
Mm-hmm.
and so I just happen to be really convinced of the effectiveness of the Taoist spine stretch.
Thank you.
Sure. So sitting and really aware of your structure. It is important that we don't let anything collapse while we're meditating, since that decreases the energy flow. We're really trying to retain some awareness of your structure as you sit. And as you begin to scan from the top of your head, either using the conscious mind or the unconscious, if you've arrived at that point, and scanning down until you arrive at a blockage, and begin to focus on dissolving it and releasing it. And if you do, flowing on to the next one, whether on the same level or further down in the body. And if you can be aware of how those may be connected to the second or third energy body, you can play with that too.
Hello? Okay, I'm just like, I'm just scheduling.
Allow yourself to resolve as well as you can with the moment, and then begin to close. Sending all benefit gained from this practice out to help all the sentient creatures of the universe. Any thoughts or questions?
I did like to apologize for my phone interrupting.
It's all right, Carol.
It was John's getting nerve blocks for his knees, and it was a scheduler. So I wanted to make sure I took that. They're happening on Monday. So
on Monday
on Monday.
at 1?
No, Monday afternoon. So we have time for woo in the morning.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to be back.
Bye-bye.
Bye.